Hello and welcome to another episode on the Stretch Street podcast. This is the energetic EJ, and as usual, I'm always excited to be here every single week, and I'm super delighted to be here again today. And guess what, guys? I have good news for you in this season because I am literally counting down to my 150th episode. So, I'm going to tell you all about it very soon. But for now, let me introduce you to my guest for the day. Her story is quite interesting, and I cannot wait to dive into the story to know all about it, but most especially the life lessons that this experience has taught her. And the life mission that she's just on right now is very, very inspiring. All right. So, if this is your first time on the Stretch Street podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, please remember to click on the subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you are always the first to know when a new episode drops. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Breaker, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts on, please also favorite us on that platform. And of course, you can support what we do here at Stretch Street by buying me a cup of coffee, or maybe two, or maybe seven, we can never get enough cup of coffee, right? But thank you so much. All the links are there in the description of this video. Now, today on the show, I have with me Lynda Sunshine West. Her story, like I said, is very interesting. She ran away at 5 years old and was gone an entire week. Came home riddled with fear and in turn became a people pleaser. At age 51, she decided to break through one fear every day for a year. And in doing so, she gained an exorbitant amount of confidence. Yes. Her mission is to empower 5 million women and men to write their stories to make a greater impact on the planet. Lynda Sunshine West is the founder and CEO of Action Takers Publishing. She's a speaker. She's a 22-time number one international best-selling author. She's also a contributing writer at Entrepreneur Magazine and Brainz Magazine. She's an executive film producer and red carpet interviewer. Whoa, look at all the many feathers in this one hat. Or should I say, the many hats that she wears. But of course, you know how we do it here on Stretch Street Podcast. We're going to meet her the Stretch Street way, and then we will dive into the story. What happened between the time she came back home and when she became 51 to take her power back and get back into confidence. We want to find out all about that. But before then, let us get to meet her the Stretch Street way. Hello and welcome to another episode on the Stretch Street Podcast. Hello, Lynda. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing great. And first, I want to congratulate you on 150 episodes. You're approaching that. That is a wonderful feat. Congratulations.
Thank you. Love it. So welcome to the show. It's such a pleasure to have you here. I know it's pretty early at this time of this recording, so I really, really do appreciate your dedication to this. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So let's meet you our way. Firstly, we already know your name, that you are Lynda Sunshine West. Man, the combination of that name though, Sunshine West. Okay. But first of all, if I ask you to tell me what you do in one sentence, because I know you have many hats, right? Or many feathers in your hat. But what one sentence that describe what you do?
Yes, thank you for that. We help aspiring and existing authors become number one international best-selling authors.
Awesome. I love it. So tell me, what is your philosophy about life?
Do it because you're scared.
Whoa, okay, because you're scared. I love that one.
You
Not
gotta do it. You
despite
gotta
the
do it.
fear. Awesome, just because.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to unpack that in a bit. Tell us one fun thing about you.
I think, let me see, the one thing I'll come up with today is, because there's always something different, is I started playing bass guitar when I was 47 years old. So I got started late, and I absolutely love it.
You play the bass guitar.
Yep, and sing in a rock band. Yep.
Oh my God, in a rock
Yeah.
band. What if I put you on the spot to just rock and roll for me?
Oh my gosh. Well, rock and roll my head right now, but that's about it.
That is so awesome. What? Whoa, I would love to watch you play on stage.
Oh my gosh. It's not that fun to watch, but it's fun to play.
No, 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 no. Rock is a genre that it's not quiet unless you're playing like what's the other rock, soft rock or anything. But
Soft
I'm
rock, right?
yeah, but like I mean, I used to be in a rock band as well, so I know like how
Oh,
crazy we could
cool.
be. Like okay, let's.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Especially on that bass guitar,
I
man. Dum,
know.
dum, 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 dum. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay,
I
let's
just
not go
love
there
it.
because I'm just gonna become a child again. Like, oh my God,
Oh,
tell
okay,
me all
cool.
about
Let's do
it.
it.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Linda, for coming up here. So let us go back to your story. Let's go back to the beginning. I am super fascinated about the first line of your introduction. Ran away from home at 5. Like, first of all, what could have caused you to run away from home at 5?
It's interesting you asked that question because I had this great opportunity to sit with Les Brown, your international motivational speaker, for a couple hours, just a couple of years ago. And this was after I had broken through those fears every day for a year. And as we were talking, he was, first of all, he was absolutely amazing, more amazing in person than he is on videos and all that. But one of the questions he asked me was, why did you run away? And I said, I was tired of it. I just decided to run away. And he's like, no, 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 no. He said, why did you run away that day? You were 5 years old. You had probably been tired of it for the previous 5 years. What was it about that day that was different? And I said, the thing that was different about that day is I made a decision and I ran away. So at 5 years old, here's what I'd love to stress about this. At 5 years old, we have very aware consciousness about what's going on around us. I was in a very volatile, abusive, alcoholic household, and I decided I didn't want to live in that. And so I ran away. Now, I just went to the neighbors, so I was very safe and sound. My mom knew where I was, but I didn't know my mom knew where I was. And this is where it gets a little interesting, is because since she didn't know where I was, since I didn't know she knew where I was, I believed that nobody came to get me because they don't love me and they don't want me around. Yeah. So when I ended up coming home after that week, my mom actually called the neighbor and said, Linda's been gone long enough. You can send her home now. So I came home and I became riddled with fears because of my dad. And I became a people pleaser because of my dad. And that was like how I lived my life the next 46 years.
So I am curious because if you were able to say, you know what, to make a decision at 5 years old, to just at least just leave that premises, what held you back between then and 40, that you then woke up again to say, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. Like what happened?
Yeah, my fears just were, I was literally riddled with fear. The vast majority of decisions that I made in life were based on fear. So fear was controlling me. And I made moves, I did things, but it was based on the fear that I had of staying. Or, for example, I'll give a great example. I married somebody at age 19. I had 2 kids. And at 21, I walked out on him. Now that's a brave move, right? I had two little ones. My daughter was 4 weeks old. My son was 14 months old. And I literally walked out because I didn't have a car. So I had a diaper bag. I had a baby carrying case and 2 kids. And I walked out. Now that's a brave, brave move. However, what I was doing actually, I was running away because I had fear of staying with him. So I had 2 fears that I was facing in that moment: fear of staying and the fear of leaving. But they were both fears because I knew that if I stayed, I would be repeating my mom's life, because my mom was with this abusive man and I was with this abusive man, just like my dad. And so I was like, shoot, well, if I stay with him, I'm going to have that life, and I leave, then I don't know what my life's going to be, but at least I'm not going to be with somebody who makes me miserable.
Mm, mm.
That was a
Wow.
really big piece because I was operating on fear. It was two
Yeah.
fears though, and I got to decide which fear was
You want to go
less.
with.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
I love it. Now I understand when you said just do it because of the fear. So it means that fear is sort of two sided. So you have to choose which of the side you are sticking with. Are you doing it for the fear? Because you know what? If I'm afraid of this, then maybe there's something behind the fear. Because again, we've heard it said a lot of times that the breakthrough is on the other side of the fear. So if you're afraid, then maybe on the other side is where the breakthrough is for sure. But there's also this other side, like if you're afraid, like, oh my God, am I afraid and I just want to walk away from it? Like, do I just don't want to confront it? That is really, really interesting to know. So now tell me, what was that thing that woke you up to say, okay, now I have to deal with this? And how did you come about the decision to do it one fear at a time for 365 days?
yeah. I was driving to work one day, and I had been in the corporate world for 36 years. During that 36 years, I had 49 jobs.
What?
49 jobs.
How
I actually
often were you
can't.
changing jobs?
Oh gosh, one year I had 8 jobs, and I remember this because that year I had to keep track of when I was going to receive my tax forms from the employers, so I could file my taxes. And I had to wait until I got all 8 of them in the mail, because that was back in the day when we didn't have computers, and so
Hmm.
I had to wait for them to come in the mail and finally file my taxes. Yeah, I had 49 jobs because, again, we talk about this fear thing. Now
Hmm.
you think about this. That means I had at least 49 interviews.
Hmm.
Well, 49 interviews for a lot of people, that is scary. But the situations I was in, I felt underappreciated. I felt like I was being treated poorly. Like there were a lot of different feelings that I had that were like my fear, again, was of staying and my fear was of leaving, and I chose to leave. So it's kind of interesting, a pattern that I started at 5 years old of, leaving, leaving, leaving. So I was driving to that job, that 49th job. I was working for a judge in the Court of Appeals, and he was the number 2 judge in the entire circuit. So I was working for the number 2 judge. I worked my way up to that. I worked my way up to that prison I built for myself, because that's what it was. It was actually like a prison. And because I wasn't able to talk to anybody, like there are all these rules. But anyway, I was driving to work this one day, and I just started like pounding my hands on the steering wheel. I was so angry. I was just so filled with anger. And I was pounding my hands on the steering wheel. I was like, I don't understand. Like, what is this world about? What is this whole planet about? This whole thing called life? And why am I here? I have no value. There's no reason for me to be here. All I do is push papers around for a lawyer. Like, I just don't understand. Like, why am I here? And I was yelling to myself. And I got to work that day, and there was a Facebook post, and it said, I'm a life coach. I took some time off. I'm getting back into it. And I'm looking for 5 women who want to change their lives.
Oh.
What I knew in that moment was that I wanted to change my life. And so I raised my hand and I just said, you know what? I'm going to explore this, see what, I don't know what a life coach is, but I'm going to explore it, and I'm going to see how I can change my life. And so that was that catalyst that helped me to move into the trajectory that I moved into. And it was an empowering, absolutely just amazing 5 months that I worked with her. And it was what set me on the path to what I'm doing today.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Honestly, like, whoa, I love it because again, it was more like a perfect timing, right? When
Hmm.
you were ready, then you found the help that you needed. When you paused, when you stopped, when you questioned to say, what is this life about? I
Yeah.
want to change. And then the change appeared. I love it. Wow.
Well, there's that saying that when the student is ready, the
The
teacher will
teacher will
appear.
appear.
Yeah. And I love that saying. And I like to look at that as that the teacher is always there. The
Hmm.
student's just not ready yet. Right. So when we have different people that are in our path, there's so many sayings out there that people come into your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And we never know when we meet somebody what they're going to fulfill for us. And so
Hmm.
we get this opportunity to learn. And
Absolutely.
another way I like to look at this also is because of my journey is that when the teacher is ready, the students will appear.
Hmm.
Yeah, opportunity to grow, opportunity to become a leader. You need those students there to teach them in order to step into that leadership role. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So it works vice versa. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. So how then did the 1 year journey began? Was it like part of your coaching program?
No, gosh, that would be a great idea. Yeah. Well, I worked with my life coach for the 5 months. And then at the end of those 5 months, by the way, I decided to jump out of that job, which was working for that judge, and to become an entrepreneur, to start this journey, like this thing. I feel like there's something out there for me. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And so I quit my job in November of 2014. And then December of 2014, I was by myself. I didn't have my life coach. I had already worked with her. Our time was done. And I noticed something in December, and that was that I wasn't growing as fast. I could feel it. Like I could feel that it was kind of like a slow down in my growth because I I shifted a lot in those 5 months that I worked with her. People even said to me, "You're so different today than you were last week." So I knew that I was shifting quickly. And that month I'm by myself, not as much growth. And then January 1st of 2015 came around, and I woke up that morning and I said, I have so many fears that are stopping me from living my life. This year, I'm going to break through a fear every single day, 365 days in a row. That's exactly how it came up. And so, if you'd like, I can share with you what it looked like and what those, like,
Absolutely,
what
yes.
those.
Because
Okay.
again, it looks like it feels like it started off as a New Year's resolution, but this time around it was deeper than that. It was
Way
deeper
deeper
than just
than that.
a
Yeah,
resolution.
because I've breaking every single New Year's resolution I've ever set, every single one. I stopped doing those like over 15 years ago because I realized I just never, and then I felt stupid or whatever. I had all these negative thoughts about it. And so yeah, this was what I like to call my New Year's commitment.
Mm,
This was
I love
a
it.
commitment, not a resolution. This was a commitment to
Absolutely.
myself, a commitment to growth, a commitment to see what can happen if I had no idea. And a
Hmm.
lot of people will ask me, so did you have a plan? I'm like, nope, there was no plan. The plan was, I guess that there was a plan. It was every morning when I wake up, before I get out of bed, I'm going to ask myself one question, 3 words that will change my life. And that was, what scares me? So I'm lying in bed, I wake up and I ask myself, what scares me? And then I just lay there and I wait until the very first fear pops into my head. Sometimes it was instant, absolutely instant, as if I was dreaming about it and waiting for myself to wake up to ask the question so I could answer it. And sometimes it took 10 or 15 minutes, for a response to come. But that commitment right there, that commitment changed my entire life. Everything I'm doing today is completely different than it was when I started that journey in 2015. All the people in my life, except for my husband and my kids, my family, everybody else in my life has shifted. It's been an incredible, and I'm so glad I did that. I had no idea. This is why I say do it because you're scared, because you have no idea what's going to happen when you open that door. You have no idea what's going to happen when you step through that door. Who are you going to meet on the other side that's going to move you to the next thing in your life? That can be scary. Yes, it can be. Here's the thing. We have a lot of fears in life, but if we do them because we're scared, we're now empowered to do it and see
Absolutely.
what result we get. And it's fun.
Absolutely.
It's fun.
Scary fun, I know. Scary
Oh
fun
my
because I
gosh.
could just
Yes.
imagine like every morning something comes up. So would you say that for the 365 days something new comes up, or there were times that some fear were deeper than the others. And so you had to deal with maybe the same thing over and over a period of time.
Well, they showed up. I'll share an example of how the fears, like what the fears were, so you can get an idea of that, and then I'll share with you what I learned through that because that'll answer your question there. Um, yeah. So some of the fears were, for example, one was go to the movies by yourself. Just go to the movies by yourself. Another one, because I remember some of them very vividly, and I'm not a journaler, so I didn't journal them.
Journal. Oh,
Looking back, I wish I had,
you would have
but
a
I didn't.
bestseller now, but it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I did write a book about that called The Year of Fears. But one was go to the restaurant and say, like when they ask you how many in your party, say just one, like, or say one or something like that. So do that. One was to talk to a stranger in the Starbucks. One was to go to the networking event and start a conversation. These fears to some people may seem ridiculous, but for me, these fears were real. I remember one day I was brushing my teeth and I was looking in the mirror and I was like, fears, false evidence appearing real. This is a very common phrase that people say,
Yeah.
false evidence
Yeah.
appearing real.
Appearing
And
real.
I was like, there is nothing false about my fears at all. They don't appear real. They are real. That is a
Real.
stupid acronym, you know? So I came up with my own acronym. And that is that I realized that when my fear was strong, my faith was weak. And when my
Mm.
faith was strong, my fear was weak. So I came up with this acronym that faith erases anxious reactions.
Whoa, I love it.
Yeah,
Faith
yeah.
erases anxious
Anxious
reactions.
reactions. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it was true. It's true too, because when you have faith and your faith is really strong, your fear is weak. So one of the things you can do is I'm experiencing fear right now. How strong is my faith? Like I need to switch that. And that's to have faith in myself, faith in the people in my surroundings, my friends, my people who will support me and uplift me and motivate me to take the action. And my faith in God, your higher power, whatever you believe in there, is like I need to tap into those three areas of faith so I can go do it because I'm scared. Because I don't know what result I'm going to get on the other side, but most likely it's going to be a result that's going to be absolutely amazing. That's going to change the trajectory of my life.
It is so
So
empowering. Hmm.
yeah, so I want to share just quickly on what I learned from this. First of all, the greatest fear that the vast majority of us on this planet have is the fear of judgment. Go to the Starbucks and talk to a stranger because what if they think I'm stupid? What if I mumble? What if I say something, all these things, right? What if I'm feared that they're going to judge me? Going to the restaurant by myself, saying only one in my party, they're going to judge me because they're going to stare at me and be like, oh, that poor girl, she's all by herself, right? And so I had all these fears, this fear of judgment. And then it dawned on me that all I need to do is tackle that one fear, the fear of judgment. It just shows up in different ways. There's a saying that more people are scared of speaking on stage than they are of dying.
Mm.
That's not true. That's a bunch of BS. The truth is that more people are scared
They're
of the
scared of being
judgment.
judged.
Yep. If I go on that stage, I got to make sure I'm dressed right. I got to make sure I say everything right. I got to do my hand gestures just right. I got to be walking on the stage just right. Like I got to be here when I said that. And all these rules, all these rules. But if we can get rid of those rules in our mind and say, I'm not worried about what they think of me, I'm just going to show up as myself and I'm going to deliver what I believe the audience needs to hear. That's when, again, we've empowered ourselves to just go out there and do it because we're scared.
I love it. Like this is so like you just made fear so sexy, honestly. Like you made it like a tool. Like what? So right now if I go on a goal and say, you know what? Everything that scares me, that's exactly what I want to do. Again, it just reminds me of the popular saying that it is those who are crazy enough to think they can change the world that actually do change the world. It's the same. Like, you know what? To hell with the judgment. Judge me all you want, but I'm going to do what I need to do, or what I think I should do, right? And it's just like, it's really, really empowering. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing this story with us. How did this link into what you do today as being a publisher?
Yeah, it is interesting because, again, because I stepped through so many open doors, those fear doors, because I stepped through those, opportunities started showing themselves because I was no longer closed off to, fear. And I ended up meeting somebody who became my mentor. He invited me to be in a book he was putting together. And by the way, I was never interested in reading and I was never interested in writing. I spent my years saying, I'm not a writer. I'm not a writer. I'm not a writer. And so when I was invited to be in a book, I was scared, but I did it because I was scared. And that was that first door that opened into the book world. And then after that, after I broke through those fears every day, my mentor, he said, you should write a book about it. So I wrote a book called The Year of Fears. Yeah, exactly. And that was scary, but I did it because I was scared. And then after that, I asked myself a question. I said, I was in a book, I wrote a book, and this is a question. You write this question down because this is a question that's going to help you to grow. And that's the question is, I asked myself, is what's my next natural state of progression? If I want to grow and I want to keep growing, I got to figure out like, what's that next step? And so that step was to write my own or put together my own collaboration book where I invite my friends to be in this book with me. It was called Momentum. And the first people I reached out to were the founder of UGG Boots, the creator of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the inventor of the credit card magnetic strip, people I met on this journey, those people that I stepped into and I said, you know what? I want to learn from them. So I ended up, becoming friends with them and I invited them to be in this book with me. And every single one of them said, yes, of course I'll be in the book. Just tell me what I need to do. So the lesson here is to ask, just ask. Because if we don't ask, we are deciding for them. We're not even giving them an opportunity to say no. So there's a saying that when you don't ask, the answer is no. But even worse, when you don't ask, you're not even giving them an opportunity to say no. So asking them was like, oh crap, now I got to write a book because I'm committed to these guys that I asked, and so then I moved forward and I filled up that book. It does cost to be in a collaborative book. And so I filled up that book, published it. I lost money. I didn't make any money off of that thing, but I did the action. And then after that, I was like, wow, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I'm going to do it again. So I did it with two more books. The next one was The Fearless Entrepreneurs. And the other one was called Invisible No More, Invincible Forevermore. See, these were my journey I was going on. I was gaining momentum. I was becoming a fearless entrepreneur. I was going from invisibility to invincibility. And so I put together these books and published them. And I wasn't yet a publishing company by then. I was just doing something that I thought would be fun. And after that third one, I released two books 8 days apart from each other. They both
Wow.
became number one international. Yeah, exactly. It's like, what? I was like, crazy? Yes, I am. I'll just put it out there. I am crazy. But they launched 8 days apart and both of them hit number one international bestseller status in under 5 hours. And I looked at that and I said, this is it. This is the thing. It took me 7 years of entrepreneurship to get to the thing. Yeah. And then I just said, this is what I'm going to do. I love what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing and I am damn good at this. I'm going to do this. And everything else in my life, in my business, I stopped doing to focus on it. So here we are. I mean, it's been amazing, amazing journey.
Gosh, this is so good because you kept doing it because you were afraid until you got to this one thing, the thing. It's just amazing. It's amazing. If you were going to drop a word for a woman that is watching this right now, I know your message is not restricted to women, but I also know that you have some sort of preferences to women.
Yeah. Why I'm a woman. I like us women.
Yeah, I know, right? So,
Yeah.
if you were going to say something to a woman looking at you now, looking like, oh my God, I wish I could just be as bold as she was to face her fears, what would you say to that woman right now?
Oh, there's so many things I would say, but I know I'm limited, right? So this one saying right here, this is a quote that I came up with while I was breaking through those fears, because I realized again I had that fear of judgment. So the saying is, and you guys get out a pen and paper, write this down right now because this is a good one. Trust me, it's a writer downer. And that is to see yourself through the eyes of others, for others see the real you. This is only positive people, because we spend our lives judging ourselves based on the judgments of others, negative judgments. If I can allow other people to negatively judge me and I adopt that to be my truth, I can also believe positive people and adopt that to be my truth. And so that's what I started doing. Was they said something positive of me, instead of me, saying, no, no, that's not who I am. That's not what I'm all about. Instead of doing that, saying, thank you. And then to myself saying, I am smart. I am confident. I am brave. Whatever it is that they said about me, see yourself through the eyes of others, for others see the real you.
That is so good. That is
I know.
so,
Like
so
that's one of my favorites. I
that
love
is
that one.
so good. I was going to say, but how do you know the how do you know the good people, right? But then you answered it even in that question, because it's like it's not everything they say, but the positive things they say, just accept it, trust it, and
Mhm.
adopt it, believe it, because they see the real you, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Especially for those of us who shy away from accepting compliments. Like, oh, you look beautiful today. It's like, oh, if you can't you just say thank you and walk away?
Yeah, and I'd like to address that because thinking about it from a different perspective is when somebody says something to us and then we give we're like, oh, but my hair is out of place, or I don't like this, or what have you. What we're doing is we're negating their compliment. Like, they deserve for us to believe what they think of us. They deserve that. And so we're actually taking away from that. And so you think about somebody in your life that maybe they compliment frequently and then they stop complimenting you because you can't take a compliment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like
Absolutely.
slapping them in the face. I mean, stop doing
Yeah.
that. Start accepting those compliments and then grow into the person that you truly, truly are. Because
So
that is who you are. You just don't see it yet.
yet.
Oh,
Ah,
can I share one last thing?
honestly, go ahead. I could sit
Okay.
here forever.
I have a lot of one last things, but I'll share this one last thing.
All right.
There's a saying that what we believe is how we behave. How we behave is who we become. So if I believe myself to be, dumb, stupid, ignorant, like my ex-husband every day told me I was stupid and ignorant, and I believed him. So if I tell myself I'm stupid and ignorant, then I'm going to walk around behaving as that stupid, ignorant person. When I start to adopt those different beliefs, the positive beliefs from other people, because I wasn't able to do it myself. I couldn't, because I had all these negative beliefs about myself. So I had to adopt their beliefs. So their belief was how I behaved. And then once I started behaving in that way, that I am kind, I am considerate, I am compassionate, I am nice, I am a leader, I am a pioneer, things people said about me. Once I start to believe that, now I behave that way. And then when I behave that way on a consistent basis, I actually
You
become that
become that
and
person.
embody that. And that is who I am. And I know it now, deep down to my core. I believe in myself for the first time in my life.
Oh, that's so beautiful. How old are you now?
60. I just turned 60. Yeah.
What? What?
60. And I feel like I'm going backwards in time because I just feel so alive for the
You
first
look
time in my
so
life.
beautiful for
Oh, thank
60.
you.
Wow.
Thank
Well
you. 60,
done.
60 is the new 30.
I know. You can say that, Mama. You can
That's
say
right.
that.
That's right.
Wow, it's been such an absolute pleasure speaking with you, learning from you. Like, honestly, your journey has really transformed who you are, because, the way that, wisdom just keeps dropping out of you, this can only come from a place of pressing. Like, you've been pressed and now you are producing fine wine, and that is just so beautiful. And of course, it shows that you are very close to Les Brown, because like write it down. When you said that, I heard it like
That's my
right.
story, and I'm sticking to it. It's one of those things he says all the time, right?
All the time. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Linda. It's been an absolute pleasure. Keep being amazing, keep impacting lives, and thank you for stepping out because you were afraid. And now, because of you and your story, we can also go out there and face our fears and say, yes, I'm going to do it exactly because I am afraid. Guys, I really do hope that you have enjoyed this session because I have. Can you see my smiles can't go away easily and my jaw kind of hurts? But that's because I'm having a good time here with Linda. Okay. So if you have any questions for Linda or you want to connect with her, I would leave all of her links. Like this woman, she's 60, but she is more active than you 30 people in the audience, okay? Because she's everywhere. She's on LinkedIn, she's on Instagram, she's on YouTube, like name it. Right? So I'm going to leave all our links below so that you can connect with her. And in case you want to, also write your books, she is a great publisher and she's helping people become bestsellers. Okay. So if you want to become a bestseller like herself, you should contact her today to be one of our clients. Thank you so much one more time, Linda, for being here. God bless you real good. Guys, until I come your way again next week with another story. This is the energetic EJ, and this is the Stretch Street podcast. I'll see you next week. Bye bye. Hey, thank you for watching today's episode. I really do hope that you found it valuable. All right. If you did, please visit us again next week when we will put out another episode. In case you forgot at the beginning or at the middle, now is a good time to click on the subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you don't get to miss any of our episodes. All right. Till we come your way again next week, remember also to read the description of this video for any links that might be there that would help you or also help you support the work that we do here. All right. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.